we're going to be. What would the future be for authors?
So the most important thing, when you're thinking about books, the most important thing is we're constantly encouraging, the kind of incumbent, participants in the book industry to think this way. The most important thing to observe is that you have to draw the box big. Books don't just compete against books. Books compete against people reading blogs and news articles and playing video games and watching TV and going to see movies. Books are the competitive set for leisure time, and it takes many hours to read a book. It's a big commitment, and if you narrow your field of view and only think about books competing against books, you make really bad decisions. And so what we really have to do, if we want a healthy culture of long-form reading, and you have to differentiate between short-form reading and long-form reading. If you want a healthy culture of reading book-length things, you've got to make books more accessible. And you have to, part of that is making them less expensive. Books, in my view, are too expensive. $30 for a book is too expensive. And so if you just think, well, I'm only competing against other $30 books, then you don't get there. But if you realize that you're really competing against, Candy Crush and everything, then you start to say, well, gosh, maybe we should really work on reducing friction on long-form reading. And that's what that's what Kindle has been about from the very beginning. We humans co-evolve with our tools. We change our tools, and then our tools change us. And in the internet era, almost all of the tools for reading have been reducing the friction of short-form reading. The internet is perfect for delivering, 3 paragraphs to your smartphone. And but the Kindle is trying to reduce friction for reading a whole book, and it's working. The vision for Kindle is every book ever in print in any language, all available in 60 seconds. And that's a multi-decade vision. We've been working on it for a decade now. Huge progress. And so we're making books easier to get, more affordable, more accessible. It's a fantastic mission. The Kindle team is very dedicated to it, and they're doing a great job. And that is you are getting more reading. Friction, if you want to do more of something, make the friction less. If you want to do less of something, make the friction more. If there's a particular snack food that you like a lot and it's making you fat, put it on the top shelf where it's harder to get to, and you'll eat less of it. So don't leave it on your kitchen counter.
Which sounds great until it comes to the author who kind of wants to write a book but can't quit their job unless they have the nice advance from the big rich publisher who you are quietly demolishing.
No, but the facts are wrong. Publishers are having unparalleled profitability. The book industry is in better shape than it ever has been, and it's due to ebooks. So if you think about how much the Kindle team deserves a significant amount of credit for that. Because they were early, they got ahead of it. There's been very little piracy in ebooks, unlike other kinds of digital media. They have, there's a thriving a la carte payment mechanism, again, because it got in there early. So there's a really good, this is a good news story for publishers and for authors. Some of this is just, it's very difficult for incumbents who have a sweet thing to accept change. Even, it's just very difficult. It's very easy, but almost always incorrect to glamorize the past. And it's easy to do. We all have sort of they're kind of fake memories of how great things used to be. And yeah, right, before penicillin, things were awesome. Yeah. And that's true. Mostly everything is getting better. Undoubtedly there are exceptions, but mostly things have gotten better. And we live in a world where I hope things continue to get better. And surely making reading more affordable is not going to make authors less money. Making reading more affordable is going to make authors more money.
So our sand is running through the hourglass with you, so we can move on. So competition. So I have always heard, I think from you, but from many others, focus. It's so hard to be good at one thing. Just do one thing. I believe Apple preaches this, and do it great. Let me remind you of some of the things you're doing. There's your completely massive and globally dominant commerce business, first party and third party. There is AWS, Amazon Web Services, which came out of nowhere and is now massive. You're in the hardware business, including Echo and Kindle and the phone, grocery delivery, payments, TV shows. You're now making TV shows, advertising. Jeff, how can you possibly do all of that?
Henry, you're exhausting me.
How can you possibly do all of that and do it okay? Even okay, let alone good.
So I think one way to think about this is, what are you really focusing on? So, I'm focusing on those things that I think make Amazon unusual. Genuine customer obsession. So like every single thing you just mentioned.